daily soccer podcast with the Global Sports Podcast Network.
Hello and a very warm welcome. You're listening to Road to World Cup 26, brought to you by the Global Sports Podcast Network, the only football podcast that concentrates solely on the World Cup in the entire world. In the entire world. My name is Nick
On the
Britton.
entire planet. Probably not only in this planet, any other planet as well.
Well, I don't know. Apparently there's quite a good one on Mercury, but we don't like to talk about it. We don't like to talk about it.
Blimey. That
was the voice, as always, of Mr. Ken Davis, who has returned from his holidays. He's returned from this. He's returned from that. And he's finally back behind his desk where he should be. So, Ken, a very, very good day to you. How are you?
I'm well, actually. I am returned from my holiday and rested and slightly, well, not tanned, but more pinked. And yeah, looking forward to this because there's been a lot going on in the world of the World Cup in relation to the World Cup draw, related to tickets, prices, locations. A lot's moved on in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, it has. And I should say that we have been a victim here at Global Sports Podcast Network of the Cloudflare issues, which you may have seen in the news if you're a tech news follower, which essentially means, or meant, should I say, that we were unable, despite recording podcasts, we're unable to actually publish any of them. We recorded Road to World Cup last week.
That was a great one, wasn't it, that?
It was the best one we've ever done.
But
nobody will ever hear it. And it was all around, obviously all around the draw, because the draw was going on at the time and we've just finished. And we just could not, because of technical issues that are way out of our control, it simply would not save or publish. So that was a real shame. So we're back this week anyway. All of those issues have been sorted. The gremlins are dispelled. And we're back to the norm. Back to the norm. It means we've got a packed show to bring you because we're going to look at the most up-to-date situation with the World Cup. That is, of course, the breaking row over the last 24 hours on ticket prices, which were released yesterday. Today is Friday, the 12th of December. They were released yesterday to an absolute, well, a storm of protests. That's the nicest, most politest, family show-friendly way I can put it. A storm of protest. So we're going to have a look at that. We're going to have a look at some of that. And then
cacophony is another word you could use.
Another word is what, Ken?
Cacophony.
It is a cacophony of protest. Yeah, it doesn't quite work. He's at it again. If any of you are listening to our daily Premier League podcast, yesterday's Ken's, he was mixing his metaphors like you've never seen. It was like he had a bowl. He had a bowl marked metaphors, and he ripped them all up, chucked them all in a bowl, and was just picking out random words, trying to fit them together.
I thought they worked rather well.
You've invented a whole new language.
Words bingo, really, wasn't it?
It was. We're also going to have a look at England, because you won't have heard our little deep dive into England last week, and Scotland, of course, as the home nations, see how they're going to get along, and a couple of the groups of death, a couple of the most interesting groups in the world.
Great groups.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. So we're going to do that. But listen, let's start with the absolute furore over ticket prices. You'll be aware by now, if you are following this story, that they are around 7 times, in some cases, 7 times higher than the tickets for the last World Cup in Qatar in 2022. The cheapest realistic ticket is over $200 per game, which is a lot more because they were meant to be $60, but it turns out there were $60 tickets, but there are about 10 of them, and they were in the car park, and they went to local people anyway. So you've got no chance of getting any of them. The statisticians have been busy at it, and will tell you that if you want to go and watch, for example, England, who are one of the fancied teams, one of the seeded teams, and therefore it costs more to watch them than some others. If you want to watch England from start to finish on the basis that they reached the World Cup final, even for the cheapest, lowest category tickets, some of which look at the pitch, some of which I fear don't, will cost you $7,000 or about £5,200. Now, bear in mind that is not taking into account flights, which have gone through the roof, as you can imagine, hotels, which have gone through the roof, you can imagine. I mean, you're looking at 20 odd grand just if you want to go to the World Cup.
I reckon. Yeah, will be. It will be for the full tournament. I think. It's.
So let me read you out something from and this is going to be the basis of discussion, Ken, on this. Let me read you out a statement released today by the Football Supporters Association here in England, but it will be echoed by football supporters associations right across the world, I think. they've called for a halt in ticket sales, and whilst the Football Association, which is the governing body here in England, work with fellow football associations around the world to directly challenge these disgraceful prices. And they said this. This is scandalous. They said it's a step too far for many supporters who passionately and loyally follow their national sides at home and abroad. Everything we feared about the direction in which FIFA wants to take the game was confirmed. Gianni Infantino only sees supporters' loyalty as something that can be exploited for profit. This is a tournament that is supposed to be celebrated by the world, where fans of all nations come together for the love of football. FIFA have decided to make it all about the money and the elite who cannot afford it. For FIFA, loyalty is not the hard-working fan travelling thousands of miles in support of their team at qualifiers around the tournament. A game that should be for all is now only for those who can afford it. Ken, it's hard to disagree with that, but what's your take?
Well, it is hard to disagree with that. It is. I was just looking at some of the cheapest prices you can possibly watch these games at if you're an English or Scottish supporter. First game, Croatian Dallas for England. Cheapest price is £198. That's a lot of money. For Scotland, cheapest price their first game at Haiti, played in Boston, is £134, which is still obviously considerably less, but still eye-watering in comparison to what we normally pay. I think there's a couple of things that's at stake here. Firstly, in the US, US sports customers are used really to paying top dollar for any kind of live sporting event. It's expected. It's part of the. You go to just a general NFL game, you're going to be spending more than $100 a ticket. So it's extraordinary in comparison to what other people pay. I think. Let me take you back to my A-level economic course, and there's such a thing as elasticity of demand, and
there's also such a thing as a quill and an ink pot.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. So the problem for supporters is that demand is inelastic. And what I mean by that is because people are so committed to their teams and they are supporters, they're not customers, they're supporters. Unfortunately, that makes the demand for tickets extremely inelastic. What that means is that actually it doesn't matter what you're going to charge, demand will still be high because you essentially could charge anything. And so because of that price inelasticity of demand, what you're going to find is that, let's say, particularly commercial organisations will take advantage of that. And unfortunately, FIFA have showed themselves to be a pretty unscrupulous dealer in this. They've seen that, the fact that people will essentially pay anything to watch Mexico or Scotland or America, and essentially they can charge anything. So it is outrageous the increase in terms of in comparison to Qatar. Qatar was slightly different, I suppose. But where does this go? I mean, if you're charging this in America, what's it going to be then next time? So
I was having a look. I was having a look at the FA's response to this because the FA's response has been pretty slow. But to be fair to the FA, they only found out about this when we found out about it yesterday. They have already sort of said that when England host the Euros in 2028, there will be no dynamic pricing.
Yeah,
and essentially said we'll go back to charging people a reasonable amount of money. I mean, look, Ken, you mentioned it a moment ago. Is this a competition that has been priced at an American market, at an American standard, and therefore they expect the people to go to these games, either expats who live in America or American people?
No, I mean, there'll be an awful lot of people going to these games who've never seen a game of football before in their life. I would imagine as well. It's priced to reflect what a global competition in America would normally be priced at. I think if you're going to the World Series of baseball, be these prices. If you're going to the Super Bowl, it's definitely these prices. What slightly surprised me, things like the quarterfinals. Okay, quarterfinals, it's round of 8. Cheapest price at quarterfinal, £507. I mean, it's extraordinary amount of money. I can't imagine.
You mentioned the Super Bowl. You pay these sort of prices at Super Bowl, but that's a one-off game.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
therefore, this is potentially what, 7 games? Got
Yeah, but
3
even
big
in
games,
even
round of
the
32, round of
playoffs, the
16,
NFL,
quarters,
even the
semi-finals, 6 games. 6 games.
yeah, I know it's an extraordinary amount of money, and yeah, I mean, I think from my perspective, it's way, way, way too high because it might reflect culture in the US, doesn't reflect the values of FIFA. I don't think it doesn't really reflect the values of the World Cup, which is about being an inclusive game, about being the world's game. And this is very much taking it out of being the world's game and making it the elite's game, which I don't like. But yeah, I think from my perspective, I can absolutely understand why it's happened. It doesn't justify the fact it's happened. I think it's actually there's. I can't understand why from a pound sterling perspective, you shouldn't be able to get a ticket for less than £100. You should.
Yeah. I wonder if if we go to a game here in the UK that's a big game, so an FA Cup final or a playoff final, they're the two kind of highest profile games this season, Championship playoff final, the FA Cup final, I would argue, the two biggest, what I call a competition game, if you like.
Yeah.
What are you paying for a ticket? I'm just trying to think what I paid
75.
a few years ago. Yeah, about 75, 80 quid the last time I went when Derby were in the
Yeah,
playoff.
no, I think you get a ticket any one of those games for less than
70 odd quid.
£100.
Yeah, yeah.
100%.
And yet for some of these games are inconsequential. I mean, there'll be dead rubbers, some of these games that you're paying £150, £200 for. There'll be dead rubbers.
Well, there's an interesting point. I mean, Scotland against Morocco in Boston, cheapest price, £163. Now, is this dynamic pricing? Because this doesn't feel dynamic pricing to me. This feels like they've actually put a price, 3 levels, 3 tiers of pricing at each of the games. If it is dynamic pricing, one must expect that these will fluctuate.
Well, let me tell you what's happened. Here. So the first 2 million tickets for the World Cup went on sale a few months ago. Then there was another tranche of sale in October. And then obviously this week, once we know who is playing who, the kind of final tickets, the kind of prices were decided. So I could have bought a ticket. I would have no idea who on earth, through the initial ballot, I'd have no idea who I was watching or where. You could get lucky or you could get unlucky, and you've got no idea of the destination. You just buy a ticket to a game. What FIFA have done here, essentially, and this is the first time this has ever happened, is they've looked at who is playing who and kind of charged an amount for that. So for Scotland versus Brazil, the ticket is a lot more expensive than the other 2 Scotland games. England versus Croatia,
£198.
England versus Croatia, the ticket is more expensive
£198.
than England versus Panama or against Ghana. So they're actually this is kind of dynamic pricing in anticipation, if you like, and I guess you then see initially what those sales are like, and then react accordingly. So I mean, I wonder that if the prices might even go up yet.
I think that's true, and it's slightly it's a bit callous, isn't it? That you actually are pricing games at the same round. So, for example, Scotland, you've got Haiti priced at £134 a ticket, Brazil at £198 a ticket, same round.
And this is the cheapest ticket, by the way. These
are the cheapest tickets. These are the absolute cheapest tickets on the same round. It would be far better if there was one price in each round and those kind of things. This does look like it's a pretty hard-nosed business, callous way of just maximising revenue.
It is. They've based it on anticipation. The bigger games cost more to go and watch. It's as simple as that. Although, of course, in reality, that might not be the case because the big game might end up being England's last group game, for example, against Panama. If they draw with Croatia and beat Ghana, and Croatia draw with England and beat Panama. When England play, for example, in the last game, Panama and Croatia play Ghana, it might be a shootout to see not who wins, because they'll both win, but who wins by the most to get through on goal difference and top the group. So actually, the final game might be the biggest game, but they've done it on.
They typically are. First games.
They've done it on anticipated interest.
They tend to be fairly conservative.
Well, they tend to be. We don't want to lose games. No, they're generally cagey. I think we're going to talk about England in a minute, but I think that might not be the case with England this time around, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. So there's lots of stuff to happen. The tickets aren't actually on sale yet, so there is a chance here for FIFA to do something, and they're going to be under pressure from certain organisations. But I think what we will need to see over the next 2, 3, 4 weeks is there going to be enough pressure, both from a football sense and from a political sense, for them to budge? I don't think there will be.
No chance.
I don't think there will be.
Absolutely no chance. Infantino's in Trump's pocket. Trump is not interested. There's no way Donald Trump's going to ride into this and demand people pay less. Absolutely no chance. He's absolutely market forces, red in tooth and claw. There's no chance. Infantino won't do anything. Just won't. This is what it'll be. This is what it'll be. You might as well get used to it, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, absolutely crackers. Worth noting, we're going on about England. For the opener, Mexico versus South Africa, Category 3 tickets. This is Mexico versus South Africa, by the way. All right, just let me leave that there for you. Category 3 tickets, $1,020. Category 2, $1,705. Category 1, $2,355.
It would serve them right if the place is empty, but it won't be because Mexico will fill it.
I know. I mean, the USA versus Paraguay, which is the USA's opener, even more expensive, $2,735. $2,735 for a Category 1 seat at what could be a highly inconsequential opening game of a World Cup campaign.
And you'd be miles away from the pitch.
Absolutely ridiculous. So there we are.
Crackers.
So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on the
telly.
Yeah, watch it on the telly. Yeah, exactly that. Right, Ken, before we move on, let's have a word from our sponsors if you have it to hand.
Can we do that in about 2 minutes when I've actually got what the sponsors want me to read out, and then we can come back to that?
I'll tell you what, why don't you have a listen? No, we'll carry on, because we'll carry on with this.
Carry on, because I want to go and grab it.
Your body is enough. And Global Sports Podcast Network has partnered with Bioniq, the world's most personalised supplements. Bioniq provide 100% tailor-made supplements designed to deliver precisely what your body needs at exactly the right levels to optimise your health. No guessing. So click the link in the show notes. Use the code GSPN2025 for 40% off your first month's subscription. Bioniq. Don't settle for off-the-shelf solutions made for just anybody. Get what's right for you right now.
Your daily soccer podcast with the Global Sports Podcast Network.
Yeah, that wasn't Ken reading it out live, because if anybody's watching this video, you can see him suddenly, having forgotten to bring the ads to the podcast, scuttling back and ferreting around in his drawers. For the podcast. There was a pre-recorded one of Ken sounding highly sumptuous.
I tell you what, I'm slightly aroused by that, which is very weird because that was me I was listening to. But yeah, he's good at that, isn't he?
Mate, you're the only person who's aroused by you, so don't worry.
Yes, that's about right, actually.
Right, okay. For the Phantom, the Ghost World Cup, Road to World Cup podcast, which we recorded but you've never heard, last week, we looked at some of the groups, and we're just going to recap. We're not going to do all of it. We're not going to redo the podcast, but we are going to have a look very quickly at a couple of the most interesting groups in the World Cup next year, known in a very cliched and popular manner as the groups of death, because anything can happen, quite frankly. And Ken, you've been having a look at a couple of particularly interesting groups, I believe.
Yeah, I have. And it's important before we set off on this little journey about groups of death, just to mention that obviously there's still some qualification to happen, and that's primarily through UEFA's playoff situation and FIFA's playoff situation. The FIFA ones generally are low-ranking teams. The UEFA qualifications involve some extremely highly ranking teams. For example, Italy, who are 12th in the world. So there's some, depending on where these teams fall in the groups, it really changes the dynamic of some of these groups. So what I'm going to do on these groups of death, I have a little rule on groups of death, which essentially is if the 4 teams are in the top 50, well, you've got to. It's going to be tight. It's going to be tight if all top teams are in the top 50. So, three to point out, really. Canada's group looks particularly tricky because Canada themselves are ranked 27th. The next team in that group will be whichever team qualifies in UEFA's A qualification. That's probably going to be Italy. They're 12th in the world. Qatar, 51st. Switzerland, 17th. Switzerland are a good team. I think Canada are looking at 3rd place in that group, quite honestly, and they've got to beat Qatar in order to do that. So I think that's going to be a really tricky group for them. Similarly, in fact, even worse for the USA, because the USA ranked 14th, Paraguay in their group 39th, the lowest ranked in that group. Australia ranked 24th, and UEFA Group C qualifiers, likely to be Turkey, who are ranked 25th. So you've got 4 teams there in the top 40. So that's going to be an extremely competitive group. The other group that I think I really pointed out to that really looks like an interesting one is Netherlands group. Netherlands are ranked 7th, Japan 18th, UEFA qualification group B, likely to be Ukraine, who are ranked 28th, and Tunisia, who are ranked 40th. Tunisia are a very, very good team, and they absolutely smashed their way through qualification. So that's another group where you could see all kinds, any of those teams could win it. And you can see all types of combinations of results there. So, Japan, Netherlands could find themselves very easily at the wrong end of that group. So 3 groups to look at, B, Group D and Group F, where all the teams are in the top 50 and are likely to make them extremely competitive. Bad news for a couple of the hosts there.
Yeah, I think Group F particularly, Netherlands, Japan, Tunisia, and likely
Ukraine probably.
And Ukraine I think will be the weakest in that group. But we've talked about Japan quite a lot, and I really like Japan. I think they are not far away from kind of joining the kind of not quite the top table, but the mid top table. So in other words, they're not far. I don't think they're far away from being a top 10, 12.
Some outstanding players playing for them.
Yeah, and as we've discussed them, we've done a deep dive into one of the podcasts on Road to World Cup 26. One of their big successes in recent years is by having a lot of their players now playing in Europe, top teams in Europe, including the Premier League, and they're playing in the good leagues. They're playing with the good teams, and that's really helped Japan. I think what was their world record? 30 something or other. I think that's a false.
Japan are 18th. Japan are
18. No, it's not quite false then. Yeah, sorry, forgive me. Yeah, I think they've got propensity to go higher, and I think they will go higher in the next few years. They've got top 10 written all over them, and then suddenly become quite a major player on the global stage, which is the first time we'll have a proper Asian team on the world stage competing for world titles. Netherlands we know all about. They're always a strong side,
but can be inconsistent.
But not a top side. And Tunisia are decent. I mean, that is a difficult group. It's interesting that the other 2 involve the host nations. Now, you know my feelings, Ken, about host nations and World Cup, and I think that it's really important that host nations do well in World Cups. Certainly, they get out of the group stages, and less so perhaps Canada and Mexico. I think are a good side. They'll do well this World Cup. They'll certainly get out of the group stage, but
Yeah, Mexico.
Canada's not so important. But I think it's absolutely critical that the USA get out of the group for the good of the competition.
Tell you what, the prices will fall though if they don't.
Well, nobody will want to go. Yeah, it'll be easier to get tickets.
Prices will be like £2.50 and get a free hot dog.
Well, you won't get your price of beer in a stadium is around $20 for a pint.
Yeah, well,
so yeah.
Just want to come back to just one thing on the Netherlands group. We mentioned that the likely qualifiers are Ukraine from UEFA B, but actually, you look at the other teams who are in qualification for UEFA B. Sweden. They've had a terrible qualification, but they're not a bad team.
They've had an awful qualifying campaign. For
Terrible,
a team
but they're not they can't be as bad as that.
No, I agree.
They can't be. Poland, 31st. Albania, rule them out. But if it's not Ukraine in Netherlands, Japan, Tunisia's group, it's going to be Sweden or Poland. All of them could beat the Netherlands.
Yeah. That's good. It's what we want. It's what we want.
Going to be interesting. There's some incredibly competitive groups here. FIFA, whatever they've done a good job in making sure that nearly every single one of these games is going to be of some kind of value to the competition.
Nope, I agree with you. Right, we're going to finish the podcast in just a couple of moments with a look at England and Scotland, our two home nations here in the UK. Before we do that, now that you've actually got them in front of you and you haven't got them hidden away in your drawers, perhaps a word from our sponsor, Ken.
Yeah, because as we know in football, it pays to get your team selection right. And here at Global Sports Podcast Network, we spent a lot of time selecting our delivery partner. And we chose Zencastr because Zencastr makes it easy to bring your vision to life, share it with your audience, wherever they may be. It's got 4K video recording. It's got easy AI editing tools. It's got fantastic distribution tools. And they're all in one place, all in one platform. So if you've got a story to tell it with Zencastr. Why don't you check the show notes and you'll find some more details.
Your daily soccer podcast with the Global Sports Podcast Network.
You're listening to Road to World Cup 26 with the Global Sports Podcast Network. My name's Nick Britton, my colleague Ken Davies, as always, by my side. Now, we like to hear from you here at Road to World Cup 26, and please drop us a line. I know a lot of you do around the world where you're listening. Road to World Cup 26 at gmail.com is, I believe, Ken, the email.
It is road to World Cup 26 at gmail.com. That's where you'll find us. And I'm sure in the course of the next couple of weeks, we're going to have a post bag because we haven't had one for ages.
Yeah, that's right. And that's the best way. You can leave us, you can get in touch with us via YouTube. You can get in touch with us via Instagram and stuff like that. But the best way is just to email in. I know it sounds a bit old fashioned in this day and age, but we like it. Keep it simple. Good old email. So there we are. Right. We're going to finish the podcast by looking at England and Scotland. Now, let's start with England, shall we? In with Croatia, in with Ghana, in with Panama. Opening game of the competition is against Croatia. That takes place on the 17th, Wednesday, the 17th of June. It's in Dallas. It's a 10 p.m. kickoff time, UK time, which is 4 p.m. kickoff time in the USA. And it looks like, Ken, England versus Croatia is almost, albeit game one, the group decider.
It's the group winner. Whoever wins that, I think, will beat the other two teams. Croatia are ranked 10th, of course, in the world, so a decent. In fact, interestingly, of the second teams, if you like, the non-seeded teams, Croatia are the highest. So England are ranked 4th, Croatia ranked 10th, Ghana 72nd, and Panama 30th. It all rests on that game in terms of who wins. Two issues. Firstly, of course, when England played Croatia in the qualifiers, which they did, they thumped them. They absolutely destroyed them. And it was one of, I think, Tuchel's best performance, or Tuchel's team's best performance. Of course, things are slightly different when you're playing in the USA in the World Cup itself. But I think even if England win and therefore top the group, actually their route to the World Cup final is pretty difficult as the group winner. And so, I mean, it all is not lost if they don't win that game. All is not lost, far from it, if they end up second in that group. Because actually, the route to the World Cup final looks, if anything, slightly easier if you finish second rather than you finish first. But I suppose you've got to beat everyone. So I expect England to beat Croatia based on current form. And I think they'll top the group quite easily.
I'm intrigued by what you said then, because you said that in qualifying they beat Croatia 5-0. They didn't have Croatia in qualifying at all.
Oh, sorry. Who am I thinking about?
Albania, Serbia, Latvia, and Andorra.
Oh, right. I forget what. Serbia. I got. Don't ever tell anyone in Croatia I mixed them up with Serbia. They'll kill me. Yeah, that makes absolutely.
A whole war was started when someone got Croatia and Serbia mixed up.
No, you're right. Well, actually, that's a different kettle of fish. They beat their neighbours, but I mean, Serbia clearly aren't Croatia because Serbia aren't featuring any of this. So yeah, maybe it's a tougher assignment than I had down. They are 10th in the world.
Yeah, and they are a good team. They are a good team, Croatia. I mean, we had a look at them in our recent Road to World Cup. By the way, if you listen to that episode, that was at the start of all these wretched technological problems we've been having, and therefore you can hear it. But I warn you, there's a heck of an echo on it. So I think we'll re-record Croatia.
We'll do that again next week
at a suitable time. So you can give it a go. It's a bit so it's very echoey. But I like to pick out three key players for Croatia, and I picked out Luka Modric, Josko Gvardiol, and Ivan Perisic. And there are two or three more that I could have picked out. So they're a good side, Ken.
Great side. Gvardiol is great. He's a great player. Modric is he's a legend.
He is. I mean, he'll be 40. Well, he'll be 40 at the time of the World Cup. I think 41 if Croatia get to a certain stage of the World Cup. But they beat us in the last World Cup. They knocked us out of the last World Cup.
Well, Croatia have a fantastic World Cup record. So we can't take them lightly. I think England will have too much for them. I think England are playing very, very well at the moment, and I think if that form continues, they'll have too much. But yeah, it's going to be a huge game, that first game. Don't be surprised if we lose it.
Well, if we do lose it, it's going to be difficult, isn't it? It's going to be difficult. I mean, it was 2018 Russia they knocked us out, wasn't it? It was France who knocked us out last time. But yeah, that was in the semis, and yeah, I worry about Croatia. I'm not going to lie, I worry about him. But England's route, if England win their group, they've got a difficult route anyway.
Really difficult.
So I don't think it pairs them up with some mighty teams, including Brazil pretty early on in the knockouts. It wouldn't be the worst thing if they finished second. Put it like that.
It would not.
It wouldn't be the worst.
It's not great news if they finish third. But let's be honest, they're going to beat Ghana and they're going to beat Panama.
They're going to beat Ghana. They're going to beat Panama. Ghana, they're playing on Tuesday, the 23rd of June in Boston. And that's a 9 o'clock UK time kickoff, 4 o'clock American time. And the final game is in New York itself.
New Jersey
Stadium. 10 p.m. kickoff UK time, 5 p.m. Local time. Ken, what do you think of England's chances?
Good. I think I like Tuchel. Tuchel's really. There's a lot to like about what he brings to the team. I think he's quite a assertive, confident, tactically astute coach. He's very level-headed. He's very intelligent. I think he's got the respect of the players. I think all the players and there are some big egos in that team. And I think Tuchel's really managed that situation extremely well. I think he'll be popular amongst the players because he has absolutely no favouritism, which I think is good. So I'm a big fan of Tuchel. I think England have got their best chance since 1966, to be honest. I really do think they're going to go a long way in this competition. I think they'll win the group. I think they'll beat a couple of good teams. It all really depends on penalties, quite honestly. we come across, if we're going to get knocked out, we're going to get knocked out on penalties.
Yes, well, there's there's a chance, there's every chance. Although England's penalty record, which was woeful for a long time, and if you're not in the UK, you ought to know that it was a laughing stock. We laughed at ourselves because we like doing that a lot here in the UK. But it became a laughing stock, our inability to win penalty shootouts, and then suddenly we started winning them. So in 2018 we won, didn't we? And that was the first one for ages. I remember Eric Dyer scoring, and yeah, I think it depends on Harry Kane. Everything up top kind of goes through him, but it also depends on where else the goals are going to come from. I think he's integral to. I know you laugh and you say, but it's true. But he is such a focal point for the team. I'm not necessarily just talking about scoring goals here, but he's such a focal point for the team, and he will worry defenders. Jude Bellingham is back in the mix after his time in exile. That seems to be well and truly over, so he's going to play. Declan Rice. We've got the wide players. You've got Eze, players like that coming into the fold.
Saka.
We've got a lot of attacking options.
We've got great attacking options. There's
every chance. Right, every chance. Scotland. Hooray for Scotland. Goodness me. They qualified in spectacular fashion and they bucked the trend because it was all set up at Hampden Park for an absolute classic Scotland glorious failure where they play Denmark in the final group game. Pretty much winner takes all. Winner qualifies. Loser goes in playoffs. Denmark were top of the group, so a draw would have done them just fine. A draw would have been enough for Denmark that night. Scotland took the lead through a sensational overhead kick.
Was amazing.
From Scott McTominay. Denmark equalised. You go, okay, fine. Frustrating. Then, with 10 minutes to go, Scotland score again, Kieran Tierney, with a really, really good hit from the edge of the box. And you think, brilliant. Congratulations, Scotland. You've done it. Denmark by then are down to 10 men. They're looking a bit out on their feet a little bit. And you're thinking, fantastic, just for 10 minutes, shut the door, play it cool, nice and easy. All you've got to do is, it's 2-2. That's about as long as it took for them to let another goal in.
I know, dreadful.
it was terrible defending. And you're just then 2-2 thinking, classic Scotland. They've had it in a bag twice, they've thrown it away twice, and they're going to fall short at the last hurdle, glorious failure, etc., etc., etc. Except they went on, nabbed another one. That third one was Kieran Tierney's hit, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The second goal was who's the lad? I think it's the lad from Hearts who scored from the goal line. I mean, talk about dreadful defending. Corner comes across, keeper misses it, defenders miss it. Shankland it was, wasn't it? Who is standing on the goal line and taps it in. Ridiculous. No, it's Kearney's third. And then you're thinking, oh, come on. And then Kenny McLean wraps it up with a wonder goal from the halfway line, and the entirety of Scotland goes nuts. So 4-2
cherry on the icing of the cake. It was an amazing game.
Yeah, 4-2 finishes just when it looked like Scotland might make a hash of it. But well done to them. So they play Haiti on the 13th of June. And when I say the 13th, what I mean is it's the 13th in the USA, but it's the 14th in the UK because it's a 2 a.m. start.
That's really crap, isn't it?
It's really crap because actually, ultimately, this is Scotland's most important game because if they don't beat Haiti and they don't beat them by maybe 3 goals, they're up again. If they don't beat them, then thanks very much. It's Jock Stein all over again. Get on a plane and come home, lads. 1978 all over again for Scotland.
That was Ali, wasn't it, rather than Jock Stein? We're on the march.
We're on the march for Ali's army. Of course it is. Yes, of course it is. And they've got to beat Haiti because they're up then against Morocco and against Brazil. And I reckon if they can get a point out of Morocco, they're doing well. They're not going to beat Brazil. So it does come.
Morocco.
No, I don't think they will. But
they're not going to get a point out of Morocco. Morocco 11th. They are a proper team, Morocco.
They are, but I would say they're not as good as Brazil.
No, they're not.
I think Scotland will look at that and they'll go, we want 4 points out of this group. And 3 of them have got to come from that opening game against Haiti.
Yeah.
And if they can get 4 points out of this group, there is every chance that they will qualify for the knockout as one of the 8 out of 12th best placed, third placed teams.
Yeah, that's right. So you've got a round of 32, and essentially you get 24, and then you get 8 out of 12.
8 out of the 12
best placed third.
And that's going to come down to goal difference mostly.
Yes, you will.
But some teams might qualify with 3 points from that. So if you can get 4, I think it stands you in good stead. Even if they don't, if they get beat by Brazil, Morocco, it means they've got to put a good number of goals past Haiti to stand any chance of going through.
I can't see it. I've got Peru vibes about the Haiti game.
You think
I've got a massive Peru game.
So you think Haiti are going to beat them?
No, I think it's going to be a draw. I think it's going to be a draw.
No,
I think it's going to be Haiti scramble a goal, and Scotland go and try and equalise. Eventually, do equalise. Scott McTominay from the stand or something, and that'll be it. 1-1.
No,
and Scotland are going to end up with 1 point. Now, I've got a feeling there's a team with 1 point who are going to get through. When you've got 8 out of the 12 qualifiers, there's going to be a team with 1 point that gets through. 2 points will get you through, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there will be that, won't there? Because you'll have the top 2 winning all the games, and then it comes down to the bottom 2 drawing.
Yeah. So I'm sure 1 point. There'll be a team that gets through to the round of 36 round of 32 with 1 point.
I don't know whether I'm in favour, mate. I don't know whether I'm in favour of the expanded World Cup, but I am in favour.
You're in for a shock at the next one, then,
mate.
Well,
yes, yeah, I know. Yeah, local
64 teams, isn't it?
Local park.
We'll have to start tomorrow.
But I'll tell you what I'm in favour of. I'm in favour of greater jeopardy in the group games, because the group games can become very boring very quickly.
Yeah, they do.
But having that jeopardy of knowing that you've got a great chance of finishing in third spot brings a different dimension to it, and I like
every single game is going to matter in this.
Yeah,
world.
that's the point.
Even Cape Verde against Saudi Arabia will matter.
Yeah, and that's
I wonder what
point.
the price is for that game. Cape Verde against Saudi Arabia.
Oh, I've just had a look at it. Yeah, it's £19,000. That's the cheapest.
Can you imagine? There'll be literally no one there.
Well, the Saudis can afford it.
Yeah, the Saudis, but you can't in Cape Verde. There's only 12 people live there, and 11 of them are playing.
And the other one's the coach. So
the other's the coach, exactly.
We haven't done yet a deep dive into Scotland, Ken, but I'm going to ask you to where is it? So it's Haiti, Morocco, and Brazil. Yeah, Brazil's 24th of June. Sorry, I should say this. Morocco's the 19th in Boston for Scotland, which is an 11 p.m. UK time kickoff, 6 p.m. local. Brazil is on the 24th of June at 11 p.m. again UK time. I'll tell you what, the pubs are going to do good business in Scotland, aren't they? 6 p.m. American time, and that is in the Miami Hard Rock Stadium. And let's hope, Ken, for Scotland's sake, it's not the Miami Hard Luck Stadium.
How long have you been working on that one?
It just came to me. It just literally.
Very, very good. Well, I think they're going to get stuck between a rock and a hard place, to be honest. Scotland.
A hard rock and a hard place.
Hard rock and a hard place. I don't think they're getting out of the group.
Oh, no.
I don't think they're getting out of the group. I think the wheels are going to fall off against Haiti. The only argument. No, the wheel's going to fall off against Haiti. They're going to end up with 1 point, and someone else is going to end up with 2 and get past them in the 8 out of 12 third places.
Right. You ready?
They'll get third place. I think they'll get third place, but they won't get through.
Right. I think they beat Haiti and they draw with Morocco.
Not a chance.
And if they do that, they might even finish in second.
They'll finish second. Yeah, if they do that. But that isn't going to happen.
Okay, but I do think they'll beat Haiti. I think they'll qualify. I think they'll qualify in third.
Yeah, okay, well, we'll wait and see. I have no confidence in Scotland. I have no confidence in Scotland.
That I'm going to deeply regret, but there we are. Right, okay, that brings an end to proceedings today. Thank you very much. It's great to be back, Ken. It's great to be back after a couple of weeks of techno nightmares. So thank you for joining us. Thanks for being patient over the last couple of weeks when I know you've been checking your phones every day going, where on earth are those 2 World Cup idiots? Where are they? Well, I'm missing my Road to World Cup podcast. Well, the good news is, folks, we're back. Hurrah.
Right. And next week, we're doing Croatia again. Not Serbia, but Croatia.
Yeah, it'd be good to get the team right. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be terrible if I went through the whole podcast.
I know. I shouldn't have
looking at
told
the
you.
wrong
Should I? I
team. Never
shouldn't have
done
told
that
you and just let you make a complete fool of yourself. But
Oh,
then
no,
again, I think
dreadful.
you were doing that already, so no harm done.
Thank you very much. So yeah, it's Croatia next week. Look forward to that because it actually is quite an. They're a proper team.
They are a good side. They are a good side. So we look forward to that. And until then, have a great week, everybody. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves. Look after each other. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Your daily soccer podcast with the Global Sports Podcast Network.